We're going to move beyond those first three lines of the third verse. I'll read the whole third verse to start with, though. Keeping the body humble and at peace, speaking neither pleasantly nor deceptively, and keeping the mind absorbed in the spiritually beneficial. Course in the Dharma Dhatu wisdom, like a fish swimming in the ocean, free of the hooks of desire and attachment. Okay, so coursing in the Dharma Dhatu wisdom means the wisdom that knows the nature of reality, the wisdom that knows reality, the wisdom that knows things as they are. Okay, so it's referring to first gaining the correct view of emptiness, which is the third principal aspect of the fourth, of the path, and then meditating on it. Okay, so first we have to gain the correct view through using reasoning and logic and develop a correct inference, like we've been studying in low rig. Okay, and then after that, then combine that inferential understanding with single-pointed concentration, or specifically serenity, so that it becomes the unity of serenity, or the union of serenity and insight. When he says here, like a fish swimming in the ocean, it reminds me, I don't know if that's what the second Dalai Lama, first Dalai Lama, what he meant, but what it could be, because Tsongkhapa said in the in the Lamrim Chenmo, in the insight section, when he talks about combining serenity and insight, he uses the example of a little fish in an ocean. Okay, but it doesn't mean that it does not mean that the ocean is calm, so that's like your serenity, and the insight is analytical, so that's like your fish. It doesn't mean that. What it means is that the analysis itself induces the pliancy, the mental pliancy, that brings the serenity. So in that case, the analysis doesn't disturb the serenity, the single-pointedness. Yeah. So that's very important, because beforehand, before you're able to do this, when you analyze, it disturbs the single-pointedness a bit, because your single-pointedness, you're just totally on one object. And if you analyze, you're looking at different perspectives of an object, so it disturbs it. So this union of serenity and insight, you can do the analysis, and it's the analysis that induces the pliancy that brings the serenity. So at that point, you can analyze and it doesn't disturb the single-pointedness, the concentration factor, the stability factor of the mind. So it's pretty wow, So you can see here that, to gain realizations, there's so many different aspects of our mind we need to work on. So many different qualities we need to develop, because you need to be able to develop the serenity and then develop the correct view and then be able to unite them so that the analysis induces the pliancy and the serenity. And then you also need to have bodhicitta, so that you're doing it for the benefit of all others, and to have bodhicitta, then you need to have renunciation. Because if you don't want to get out of samsara yourself, you're not going to want to get anybody out of samsara. So generating bodhicitta is going to be impossible. Okay, and then to have renunciation of samsara, then we need to get rid of our attachment to the 8 worldly concerns. So that's kind of where we're at, isn't it? Yeah. So we can plant the seeds for these higher realizations and know how they work and do a little bit of that kind of practice. But what we need to put more of our focus on, proportionally, is on counteracting the 8 worldly concerns, at the same time as we cultivate concentration and insight and so on. Yeah, but not to skip over that, because, you know, we have to work on our attachment to the 8 worldly concerns to develop renunciation of samsara. And we need that so that we can renounce samsara on behalf of all sentient beings. In other words, want everybody out of samsara, for which purpose we generate the bodhicitta. And then we need to be able to combine the bodhicitta with the wisdom aspect of the path. But the wisdom aspect of the path needs to also be combined with, you need to have the combination of serenity and insight. Okay? So it's interesting in this way. We see that, I mean, there's, His Holiness, you know, always says our mind is a very complicated thing, very complex thing. So it takes more than just one meditation. You know, and even one meditation technique to deal with all the, you know, to cultivate all the diverse aspects of our mind and qualities that our mind is capable of generating, you know, in order to gain these higher realizations. Yeah. But we're so fortunate to have met the path that can take us there, you know, and to know that path, have confidence in that path, and be able to start, you know, at the beginning with, you know, working on what our most immediate concerns are. Okay. Nobody's expecting us to have the union of serenity and insight by next week. Yeah? And, and you know, what's nice about this way of explaining the path is we can see that everything depends on causes. Yeah? That every realization, every quality, you know, that we want to develop depends on creating the causes. And so if we have that firmly implanted in our mind, and then the way the path structure is, we know what the causes are for each of the realizations, then we know what we need to practice. And we know kind of the order that we need to do it and how we need to combine different elements from different things. Because it's not just one thing, you know, but we need to do several practices because it's causes and conditions. It's not just one cause, you know, to develop all the causes and conditions that will lead us, you know, to the next thing, that will lead us to the next thing, and so on. Okay? So for me, I find it quite wonderful that there's a roadmap on how to do it, and that we can really see causality at work here. You know, and know that if you create the causes, you will get the results. So let's just get busy creating the causes.